So, we're here with Ryan Waste of Bat, Vulture, and Municipal Waste. So, how are you doing, Ryan?
Good, man. Just staying busy. Back in Richmond, back in my hometown.
Awesome. So, it was just announced that you're going to be releasing a new 7-inch. So, how did you become in conspiracy with Hell's Headbangers?
Yeah, when you say 7-inch, you assume you're meaning the Bat Cruel Discipline 7-inch that's coming out.
Yes.
We actually been with Hell's Headbangers since last year. It's one of the labels that I really respected, that I kind of sought them out, and it was kind of a mutual thing. When I was forming Bat, I was like thinking of labels that it would make sense for us to be on, and that was pretty much the one that me and Nick, our guitar player, were like, I think that would be a perfect fit. So I was already in contact with Chase from Hell's Headbangers, and we were talking anyway, and I was like, I got this new project coming out. I think you're going to like it. I sent it to him, the demo, before we even released it, and he was way into it. And it just kind of developed from there. We had released it on cassette in Fontaine Crimes, and then we basically just kind of licensed it over. But the 7-inch will be the first new thing that we've come out with, and it's a song called Cruel Discipline. We've been playing it live. It's one of our favorite ones to play, and I was like, this could be a single, and I felt it was like single-worthy. And we stuck Rule of the Beast on the B-side, which was the first song we ever came up with, me and Nick. And it's like after our demo, it's our first official single, and it's coming out on Hell's, so we couldn't be more happy.
So how did Bat come into existence? Was it something you always wanted to do, or was it kind of just just something you just came up with?
A little bit of both. I mean, I'm a huge fan of more raw, like Venom style heavy metal, Celtic Frost, stuff like that, and a bigger fan of real, like traditional heavy metal, like new wave of Bruce heavy metal type stuff, but I can't sing like that, so this is more of my own voice taking, I guess, a more kind of Motorhead, Venom type toll on music that can kind of cross the barriers between punk and heavy metal, because Felix is a real more punk rock drummer. He's not even really like a huge metalhead. So combining us being like diehard metalheads with like punk rock drumming, I think kind of makes sense. It keeps it intense, So
yeah,
me and Felix have talked about this years ago. Since I've met him, I've known Felix for about 8 or 9 years, and we just kind of kept going back and forth. I'd go through Texas, and we'd talk about doing a project. Yeah, we got to do something, And you have those types of relationships with people where it could just be at a bar, and you say you're going to do something, and nothing ever comes of it. I didn't want it to be one of those situations, and me and Nick actually, we do Vulture together, and we're both come from pretty diverse backgrounds of punk and metal, and I think this is a totally different beast. Like, whereas Vulture is more straight up heavy metal, this has a lot of punk rock influence in it, and it came together kind of organically, really. I mean, we don't really overthink the songs, and we keep it raw. And I think with Felix on drums, it just totally complements that.
Yeah, I also heard a bit of Tank influence, I would say.
For sure, one of my favorite bands, and definitely the old stuff, Bill Towns, because I can't. I wish Algie was still in the band. It's one of those bands. It's like I just saw him recently after we played with them on 70,000 Tons of Metal. The Waste just played, and went to see Tank, and it just wasn't the same. But you can only you kind of keep bands like that. Like you just remember them how they were.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely the Phil Towns era. First 3 records definitely a huge influence on Vulture and Bat.
Yeah. Would you say this new 7-inch is a preview for the new record? I think they said it's going to be coming out this year or next year. I can't remember what I read exactly.
Well, if everything goes well, the LP will come out this year. I'm actually doing vocals at my house for the new record right now. I'm tracking myself. Yeah, it is a precursor. The demo, everything that we recorded is going to be on the LP, so it's basically like us updating, not really updating or changing the song, but it'll be all different recordings plus a bunch of new songs.
Yeah,
will be the LP. So it's definitely a precursor. Cruel Discipline will be recorded again. Rule of the Beast will be recorded again, and then we got about 6 other new ones plus the demo songs will be on the LP. So it's just kind of like everything's coming together, and I don't want to short any. No song is less important to me, really. So everything's going to be on the LP, and Yeah, it's Precursor. Why not? It's a single.
Yeah. I think you guys did some touring. I think recently, but do you think you come to the West Coast anytime soon? I think you did Sprain Squeeze, if I'm correct.
Yeah, we played Tank Crimes Brain Squeeze, which our friend Scotty puts on. He runs Tank Crimes Records. Our demo came out as a 5-song cassette on Tank Crimes. So we were, we're considered a Tank Crimes band still, even though we're on Headbangers. We're still affiliated with them. Mm-hmm. More, business friendship on top of everything. We're just good buds,
Yeah.
So, that was the one time we played the West Coast. It was our 4th show ever. We just done 3 shows with Satan over on the East Coast as our first shows, which was incredible. And then we got right on a plane after our 3rd show and flew out and did the Brain Squeeze. So that was like the introduction for that playing live. And, of course I want to come to the West Coast. I mean, it just has to make sense. So we would like to book a tour around it. I don't want to just go out there and do one show. It'd be cool to go up the coast and hit places like Portland and Seattle and come all the way down to like San Diego area. What area are you based in?
Riverside, which is a little bit north of San Diego, south of LA.
So yeah, we want to cover all that. There's no set plans, but if there's any festival type thing that can get us out there and we can book a little tour around it, we're fair game for that for sure.
Yeah. So now going to Vulture, you were a founding member of that band, correct?
Correct.
So how has that been going? I was just listening to your debut album yesterday, and it's a really good album, I must say.
Is that Shocking It's Pride, the mini LP?
I think so.
Or Off the Edge?
Off the Edge.
Which one?
Off the Edge.
Yeah, On the Edge is, first of all, Shocking It's Prey is a mini LP that we did in 2010.
Yeah.
And we're actually getting cracking on some new songs. I could almost give you an exclusive. The thing we got coming up for Vulture is going to be a soundtrack for a movie that I'm writing. The next Vulture release is going to be an original soundtrack that we're doing all the songs for a heavy metal horror movie that I'm writing the screenplay to. So this is an exclusive on that. I haven't told anyone about that yet. It's just in the works. We're writing the songs. We want to infiltrate the songs into the movie before the movie's even written. So kind of taking it back to when like Fastway did the Trick or Treat soundtrack on that level. We're writing movie rock.
That's actually really cool. That's actually a really cool idea. I love like 80s horror movies, so I'm definitely
Well, then I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this. And, I haven't even. Obviously, I'm telling you, it's news now, but this is the first time I've mentioned that. I'm going to be in the next couple of weeks going to really get the ball rolling. But the outline of the movie, I've written it, and it's my new exciting project that I'm freaking out about right now. So yeah, there's your exclusive to that.
Oh man,
Vulture's doing the soundtrack.
That's really cool. And I think you guys did a tour, not a last tour, but I remember you guys played with Diamond Head and Raven, right? On a few shows.
Yeah, we came out there last October. Yeah, because John's a good friend, and we did the Living Fast show together, and I kind of weaseled our way onto the Diamond Head gigs, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. I was out there with Vulture.
Yeah. Now, would you say with both Vulture and Bat, you were more comfortable playing bass? Because I think.
Well, I started on bass.
Okay. Yeah.
As a kid, since I was 13, it was my first instrument. So I think I was definitely very comfortable on it. I feel like I could do a lot. I still kind of play guitar like a bass player, more rhythm, oriented.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have a second question with that?
Oh, no. I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but you started on bass. That's actually what I was just going to say. Yeah. Yeah,
sure. I didn't pick up guitar until I was like 18. And it was that Stratocaster that I played the first 3 Waste records with, because I'm left-handed as well, so it's kind of hard for me to find cool instruments. There'd be like one Strat in a store, but my bass that I've had since I was a teenager has been this 77 Guild 301. It's like this old 70s bass that was actually left-handed. I found it, and it's my prized possession because you don't see those very often, at least left-handed. And I still play that in all the bands, so it's definitely a dear possession of mine.
Yeah. Well, that leads into my next question. What gear do you use?
For bass, I use all Sun stuff. I got a Sun Beta bass, which is, you can do the 2 channels into one. It's the most crushing amp, I think, for all across the board. I don't have to use any type of distortion. I got it on the amp. Like I can crank up the gain on the Sun amps, and it's just so gritty and punchy. And I wish I had a Sun cabinet set up, but they usually only make 15s. I would like to have like 610s or 810s like a Sun, but I just use Ampeg cabs. I use a 610 cab or like a refrigerator cab if I can find one. I don't usually like lugging those things around.
Yeah.
But yeah, all Sun stuff, and no pedals, man. The grit is built into those old 70s amps.
That's cool. Then guitar-wise, you have your custom guitar, right?
Yeah, I'm on the fourth incarnation of the NW guitar. I got a guy in Richmond who's he built the last one I'm using, this guy named John Gonzalez, and he runs a guitar shop in Richmond. I was actually bringing a lot of the old NW models to him to get tweaked, like they get beat up on tour, and I, get setups done on them, and, little problems here and there. He was fixing them so much, he was like, man, how about I just make you a guitar? We could just make this model again. And I was like, shit, yeah, let's do it. And we're making them in Richmond now. And hopefully, my goal for that guitar a long time ago was to produce it to where people could buy those guitars, buy the MW model. And I'm actually still working on that plan, and hopefully being made in Richmond, in my hometown. So it'd be a USA made guitar. People can get it, right-handed and whatever. And it's I'm trying to make it affordable for people. I don't want to have some custom model that a kid's gonna have to pay over $1,000 for. So we're working out the logistics of that.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be available, because people ask me all the time, like, man, I want one of these. I was like, I want you to have one too. We'll see. So I've kind of shaped the last shape I have on it. The headstock looks more like the A. I've gone away from the W headstock because it looks like too many other models of guitars. It never really looked like the W to me, but the body is the M, and I drew the logo, so I basically designed the shape. But my friend John Gonzalez is like a mastermind. He hooked up the whole body, and the one I'm playing is like the best one yet. So really excited.
That's really cool. That the guitar line sounds cool. Like you said, being USA made, that's awesome.
Yeah, and most shit is not. So not that I'm trying to be patriotic, but it's just cool that it's in my hometown.
Yeah. So bass and vocal wise, who would you say has had the biggest influences on you?
Well, you got to go with Lemmy for bass, and Geezer Butler would be a close second for me for bass. I think you'd have to be in a hole to not know that I'm borrowing some Kronos vocal style there. That's definitely an influence. But he was just trying to be Lemmy, so in his own way, and I'm just trying to be me, but definitely that stuff has an obvious effect on my singing style. But I never consider myself a singer, so it's just something I'm just diving in head first, and I'm really liking it, minus like losing my voice, blowing my voice out, because it's real throaty stuff that I'm doing. And I try to like make everything audible. I'm a big fan of lyrics that you can understand, I kind of don't like screamy vocals and like vocals that are inaudible. I like to really get a point across what I'm saying. So I try to keep it kind of like punk in that way that you hear what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now, when the Fatal Feast came out, like 2012, right? Around that time?
Yeah, 2012, we were touring our ass off, like up before and around it. And it was, it was a crazy tour cycle that year for Waste. We did over 300 shows in that year.
Oh, dang. Yeah,
maybe over 200, in between 200 and 300. It was a lot.
Oh, man. I always wondered, how did you get John from Nuclear Assault to do vocals on the title track?
It was just a phone call. I think Tony got in touch with him. We had played with Nuclear Assault like as far back as 2002. John was always really cool. We ended up, they just shared gear with us at that show. It's before our band was shit. It was like, played in my hometown of Virginia Beach, and we met them. We met Danny. We've been friends with Danny over the years. And just took a phone call. He did it up in New York, and he just, I think when we were writing the song, Tony thought that part sounded kind of like Nuclear Assault, so he just got the guy from Nuclear Assault to sing on it. It made it easier for him.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, recently, I want to say, maybe it's been a year, I'm not sure, but Living Fast, and let's just say I've been a really big fan of this show, because it adds, what's really cool, is that you go like to record stores. Obviously, went to Michael Denner's record store, and then you have like the backstage stuff, the tour stuff. I think it's really cool. So how did you come up with this?
Go ahead.
How did you come up with this Living Fast show?
It's crazy, man. Like I was really into radio when I was younger, and I started. I was always thought that could have been my calling because I DJ at home. I play records for people, and I'm basically obsessed with music as a fan more than anything. Besides being playing it myself, and there's just all these bands that I listen to, and like old heavy metal bands. I was like, well, I could make mixtapes for people, or I could just start doing a podcast where I talk about stuff and I just kind of do playlists. And I thought, well, most people go to YouTube to listen to music. So if I added a video element to it and maybe use my access I have to meeting people that are heroes of mine, I could tie it all together into a show. And it's like it's kind of a lifelong goal I've had. And it's finally coming to surface. And if we could plug it, it's just you go to www.livingfast.com with a dash between living and fast. I got all the episodes are up there. And I took it to Europe with Vulture for the second episode, and we went to a festival we played called Brofest. It was all these old new wave of British heavy metal bands. I just was backstage drinking with everybody and got to talk to Mantis and Tony Dolan, Adam Kraft and Venom guys, the Battle Axe guys, people from more obscure bands like Truffle, and do it all in the show, and people really responded good to it, man. The first interview was with John from Raven, who you've also talked to on here. But yeah, I'm not even at the tip of the iceberg. It's just like there's so many bands I want to like turn people onto, and I'm just giving them like the basic ones right now. I'm delving into some more obscure stuff. People seem to like when I pull out records of my collection and just show them stuff that, new stuff to get turned on to. It's all old stuff, but I feel like it's important to spread where everything comes from.
Yeah.
If we talk about it takes so long to put these shows together, and they're kind of long. You got to be into the music to get into it. People have such short attention spans these days. I've thought about making a lot of little short ones, but there's so much content I have. Like I make them about 25 to 30 minutes long. I think the interviews are interesting for me, and if you're into heavy metal, speed metal, whatever, it should be interesting for you. And the next one I got is with Razor from Guelph, Ontario. So not many people got a Razor interview, so I actually went up there on my own and got to talk to those guys. So I got that'll be the next one coming out. It's the third episode. It's coming up.
Now, yeah, I've been looking forward to it. Like every day, I check. Is there a new Living Fast stuff?
Well, you should subscribe, and I'll have it up. But yeah, you know how this stuff goes. It takes time. I like to edit it and put some stuff in there that's just not like a boring everyday interview, because I don't consider myself a journalist or anything. If anything, I just want to make someone comfortable and be able to talk about the roots of their music and kind of how I would want an interview to be approached. I don't write questions out. I usually interview bands that I'm already very familiar with, so I can just shoot the shit with them. And I just like to make it kind of a casual environment. Being on tour helps that, and just being able to travel around and meet people like Michael Denner and Jeff Dunn and stuff. So it's a privilege for me. It's like my way to be a fan and spread stuff that I like around, really.
Yeah. Well, from your show, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this band. I'm like, okay, let me check them out again, like stuff like that, or like Battle Axe, I think it was. I kind of had just forgotten about them. I'm like, oh yeah, listening to the songs. I'm like, okay, now I remember this band. Like,
and for younger kids too, man, they've never even heard of them. And like Battle Axe is a band still, and Dave's a killer guy. And they're going for it again, so it helps out the old guys too. I made a rule. I was like, I'm not going to interview anyone under 50 years old. That was going to be the rule. But some people may be in their 40s and stuff. But I'm more interested with like more founding members of bands that have still been doing it. They're like heavy metal lifers. I think that's what's interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to cover a lot of current stuff. You're not going to see that on the show, and I'm going to dust off my old records and show them. So there's plenty more to come. I'm going to start digging a little deeper for people because shit's so accessible now. I feel like anyone can be an aficionado. If they spend 10 hours on the internet researching heavy metal, you can probably figure all this shit out.
Yeah. So obviously you're a record collector. How many years has it taken to get to where you are now?
How long did it take?
Yeah.
Well, it's never ending. I don't spend money on anything else, man. I definitely have an obsession with vinyl. I've been collecting since I was a teenager, and I'm sitting in my media room right now, surrounded by records, and it just makes me happy. You know, I don't even remember the question. How long did it take to get? How many? What are we talking about?
I would say, how long have you been collecting for?
It's like 20 years, man.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so and I was cassettes before that, and I still have all my cassettes. And yeah, it takes a lot of my money, but it makes me happy. I go out and I DJ records too, so I go out and I bring my rare records out of the house. Unlike some people who are just like buy and file their records and they're worried about the condition. Like I like to let my records live and like playing for people, you know. And I'm always there's music going on in my house all day. I wake up and put a record on the turntable. I got 2 turntables set up and a microphone like that dumb motherfucker, but I play heavy metal.
That's pretty cool, actually. I like records and stuff like that too. Collecting, it's fun.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like a fad. Everyone's talking about how it's like a trend now, how vinyl is like, oh, there's this resurgence. I mean, cool, people are buying records. There's people that never stop buying records. I'm one of those people. I make sure everything I do gets put out on vinyl. Because it's tangible, you know. It's like something you can hold. The artwork's big. It's a package, you know. It's fucking what's an MP3, you know. You can bring it with you. That's the only thing cool about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up the Vulture one too soon because I got the MP3, but because I was just listening to it. But it's kind of weird. It's like you feel like you don't own it, you know.
Yeah, well, I'll send you one, man. If you want it, I got a bunch in my room, so I'll hook you up.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't give your information out over the interview, but we'll talk after it.
Yeah. And then any cool recent pickups? Vinyl wise?
Yes. Oh man, I'm looking at it right now. This is insane. And I was gonna wait to even like put a picture up because I wanted to put it on Living Fast, but you know how long it takes to get those out. I got this record from this band from South Carolina called Warhead.
Okay.
It's called Explosive Rock. It's a single, private pressing. Songs are Street Survivors and Pick Your Poison. And being from Virginia, it's cool to find like an old, like East Coast heavy metal bands from '83. And I scored this record. I looked up; it was going for like $300 in places, $200 to $300 for this private press. I didn't pay that much. Let's put it that way. But man, I like listened to it in the store, and I was like freaking out. And then I looked up how rare it was, and that's not usually what makes it exciting for me, that it's worth a lot of money. I don't care about that. It was like good songs, man. And like, then I looked it up and I was like, wow, this thing is super rare. It just looks cool. It's called Warhead Explosive Rock.
Warhead Explosive. Okay, I'll check that out. That sounds actually really good.
Yeah, and I looked it up, and some of the guys are still going. They did a reissue. There's a reissue CD you can get of like all their rehearsals and stuff. And they're like one of those bands that were like definitely trying to make it in the '80s, and they had a video. I'm probably gonna put it up on the show. Maybe try to get a hold of one of the guys since South Carolina isn't too far away from me. And they look kind of glammed out, but the music, if you just listen to it on its own, it's heavy, man. I mean, it's definitely, don't look at a picture of it. Listen to it first. Let the music do the talking first.
Yeah. Like in I was trying to think of a band totally slipped my mind. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Some bands will look a certain way and they sound totally different. But,
it's a different time and place, you know. And I think that stuff's cool to have a stage show and have your look together. I think it's important. You know, you can't just get up there and you gotta have some presence with it. But these guys have like a lot of makeup on.
Yeah. Any new releases you looking forward to?
Well, actually, something that already came out. I actually got to interview Riot the other day. We were on the 70,000 Times. I talked to them. I think their new album's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Unleash the Fire by Riot. Can't think of anything new that's coming out, and that's not usually. I'm that way with like music and movies. I'm not like really up on new releases so much. So maybe you can tell me.
Well, one that just came out, Night Demon, Curse of the Damned. That was really good.
Oh yeah, those are buddies of mine. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm in touch with Jarvis over, here and there. He actually he helps me out sometimes, throwing shit my way. But I probably I heard it's good. I need to get a copy. Hey Jarvis, give me a copy, buddy.
Yeah, that one's good. The new Enforcer. I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah. Oh, you know what, man? Speaking of Enforcer, you know what's good that came out is that Black Trip band. Have you heard that yet?
Oh, dude, that I love.
It's
Black
so
Trip.
good. That's it's Joseph from Enforcer and dude from Entombed. Was it Patrick? I can't remember his name. Peter. Yeah. Dude, that Black Trip record's so good.
Yeah, I know.
And there's also Toby's doing CC Company and Terminal too. They're both really good. Like all of it. There's stuff coming from Sweden right now that usually one way or another involves as Enforcer guys. And some of my favorite stuff. And the Swedes always do it right. They just take something and do it better.
Yeah. Yeah, the Black Trip is really good. I love that.
The Black Trip front. Yeah, now that you mentioned it, like that's my favorite thing that's come out in the last year. Yeah,
that one's really good. I want them to put out some new material because I love that album. Going Under. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's what it's called. Yeah, it's great. But we were in Sweden and fucking Jonas gave us a copy of it. We were over there and in Stockholm, and we couldn't stop listening to it on the Vulture tour.
Yeah, I love the Thin Lizzy-esque type of stuff, and early Maiden type of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a real rock record. It's good to see that like everything is in place. And that's actually there may be hope for heavy metal these days because there's some really good shit like that coming up.
Yeah. Are you a fan of, do you ever go, to Record Store Day, or is that something you kind of skip out on because just not as many good releases?
Well, I mean, I've been around the record store when it was Record Store Day. I'm usually on tour, so I go to a lot of record stores on different days.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that's a thing. And we've never got to get a record out on Record Store Day, something that Tony always wanted to do that we never really lined up. It's hard to make a release happen in time sometimes. Yeah, I'm all for that kind of thing, man. Anything to keep the record stores going, get people packing in there. I actually have a record store across the street from my house in Richmond. It's an independent punk and metal record store. It's cool, man. I walk out my front door. It's too tempting.
What's it called?
I'm giving away where I live, but it's called Vinyl Conflict. I guess I won't give my address away.
Yeah. I guess over here in more in California, the only one that's really big is probably Amoeba. But Dark Realm Records in Downey is pretty cool for more your underground, more extreme metal type of stuff.
Yeah, there's a few in Richmond, man. I mean, I like to go around just on tour. I try to find out where the record store is immediately in every town and break away. Yeah. And go search. It's way more rewarding to find a record in person than to order one on the internet, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I definitely agree with that. Because when you are online, okay, that's cool, but finding it in person is way more fun.
Yeah, I've jumped up and down. I think the place that was the craziest for me was going to Japan and going into record stores there. I lost my mind finding stuff. I mean, this place called Disc Union in Tokyo. They had everything you could ever imagine. It was amazing.
Dang. I'm guessing...
And they're all mint. Everything's in perfect condition. They just have everything. It's cheaper to import stuff there for them than to actually release it. So they have it's just insane. Yeah, I can't even explain it.
That's really cool. I would like to go there. Sounds like a
everyone should try to go to Japan, see how it's done. People know how to run shit.
In Europe, what was your favorite record store to kind of look through, if you can remember one? That's really cool.
Man, there's so many in Europe, and it all blends together. I'm gonna have to come back to that. In Sweden, there's a ton of stuff. There's we were in Stockholm, and I can't remember it's called Thrash something. I can't remember Yeah, I blank on stores over in Europe, but I've been to so many good ones. It's hard. They all kind of blend into one. I mean, I'll plug Michael Denner's store again, Beat Bop in Copenhagen, Denmark is amazing. And he keeps good stuff in there. It's crazy. He keeps like Merciful Fate records in there just so people can like get them signed. Like he knows people want that, and it's so cool to see him doing that.
Yeah, that is really cool because I guess a lot of people would come in and look for Merciful Fate.
I mean, yeah, for back to the Living Fast thing, like he didn't know we were coming in. I rolled in with all the Cauldron Boys and Vulture, and we were just like, "Hey man, you want to do an interview real quick?" And he was totally cool. And like I just got back behind the counter with him and did it. He was that cool about it.
Yeah, that's really cool. An album I've been looking for is the Brats, their first album, 1980.
Yeah. That's the deal. That's my favorite one. They had those there. I mean, it's a reissue. I mean, that's all I've ever had of that. But that's like the most solid record, man.
Yeah, that's a great one. And I guess actually we're kind of the last thing is, do you have any like shout outs or want to plug in any websites of yours or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, well, that record, our demo, Primitive Age, is coming out on LP February 17th on Headbangers Records. You can go to their site and find that. And then the Cruel Discipline 7-inch is coming out March 17th on Headbangers. Living Fast, episode 3 is coming out. I mentioned my website earlier. Maybe I could just talk to you off this. You can put it at the bottom, whatever, clickable link or whatever.
Yeah.
Living-fast.com. So I got tons of stuff coming out. The exclusive on the Vulture soundtrack for the movie I'm writing. That's haven't told anyone about that yet in the press. So look out for the Vulture Facebook for that. I'll be talking about that too.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, there's a lot of, I'm keeping busy, so there's a lot of stuff coming up, and recording the Bat record currently. Still doing vocals at my house. So that LP, as soon as we're done, Headbangers is pretty good about just pumping it out, getting it to the pressing plant. So hopefully we'll see that before the end of the year as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. It means a lot,
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it.
Awesome.